Woo! Great morning. What's up, you guys? Even Toby's excited. He's amped up. It's Triple M time. So excited as we're here with our healthy family, ready to get our mindset elevated and share with you guys in your healthy family as we all elevate our mindset. So, as always, on Monday Morning Motivation, we got an amazing video. This is by a guy named Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is the guy that they call the modern day Iron Man. You know, he's behind Tesla, the electric car, SpaceX, which is taking people into outer space, and Solar City, which is creating sustainable energy for the whole planet. So, behind $3 billion companies that he was all doing at the same time. So I think this guy knows a little bit about how to be successful. And in this video, he's going to be talking about work ethic. So I'm excited to hear from him. I'm excited to take notes, and I'm excited to hear from you guys. So take your notes, and then after Roxy and I share, you guys from the call-in line, or if you're on Instagram or Facebook, message in your shares and we'll read them aloud, because so many different perspectives are always valuable, and we really just want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. And if you're going to watch the recording, thank you guys so much. Just comment your feedback and takeaways and share the video. Let's give as many people as we can the opportunity to start fresh and start strong. So without further ado, we got our shakes. You know we got to get our wake and shake. And we got our mindset. And now it's time to get into it. So without further ado, welcome Elon Musk.
Well, you've heard it before, but it's worth re-emphasizing. I think the first is you need to work, depending on how well you want to do, particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So I work hard, like every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company. The other thing I'd say is that if you're creating a company or if you're joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service.
Hold on really quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on an extra speaker. It's kind of low. Let's see if this works a little bit better.
How talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company. Then I'd say focus on signal over noise. Make the product better. So, for example, at Tesla, we've never spent any money on advertising. We put all of the money into R&D and manufacturing and design to try to make the car as good as possible. I think that's the way to go. So, for any given company, just can keep thinking about, are these efforts that people are expending, are they resulting in a better product or service? And if they're not, stop those efforts. And then the final thing is to sort of don't just follow the trend. So you may have heard me say that it's good to think in terms of the physics approach of first principles, which is, rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if if something really makes sense, or if it's just what everybody else is doing. It's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to think. And that framework was developed by physicists to figure out counterintuitive things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method. Anyway, so that's, and then I think that the final thing I would encourage you to do is, now is the time to take risk. You don't have, yeah, you don't have kids. Your obligation. Well, sorry. Probably don't have kids. But as you get older, your obligations increase. So and once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. So now is the time to do that before you have those obligations. So I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it. Thank you.
I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing. It doesn't actually have merit, and that is a really difficult thing to tell. Can you tell the difference between those two things? Right. You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week.
Yes.
And
that's
then
a lot of work.
But all those things improve the odds of success.
Okay.
I mean, if other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. And then I think it's also important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. So the normal way that we conduct our lives is we reason by analogy. We're doing this because it's like something else that was done, or it's like what other people are doing.
Me Too type ideas.
Yeah,
slight
iterations on a theme, and it's kind of mentally easier to reason by analogy rather than from first principles. But by first principles is kind of a physics way of looking at the world, and what that really means is you kind of boil things down to the most fundamental truths, and say, okay, what are we sure is true, or as sure as possible is true, and then reason up from there. That takes a lot more mental energy.
Give me an example of that. Like, what's one thing that you've done that on that you feel has worked for you?
Sure. So somebody could say, in fact, people do, that battery packs are really expensive, and that's just the way they'll always be, because that's the way they've been in the past. You're like, well, no, that's pretty dumb, because if you applied that reasoning to anything new, then you wouldn't be able to ever get to that new thing.
Right.
It's like you can't say, horses. Nobody wants a car because horses are great and we're used to them and they can eat grass. And there's lots of grass all over the place, and there's there's no gasoline that people can buy, so people are never going to get cars.
Right.
People did say that. And for batteries, they would say, it's going to cost. Historically, it's cost $600 per kilowatt hour, and so it's not going to be much better than that in the future. And you say, no, okay, well, what are the batteries made of? So first principles would be to say, okay, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the spot market value of the material constituents? So you can say, okay, it's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, and some polymers for separation, and a seal can. So break that down on a material basis and say, okay, what if we bought that on the London Metal Exchange, what would each of those things cost? Like, oh, geez, it's like $80 per kilowatt hour. So clearly, you just need to think of clever ways to take those materials and combine them into the shape of a battery cell, and you can have batteries that are much, much cheaper than anyone realizes.
And first of all, I'd say starting a business is not for everyone. So generally, starting a business, I'd say number one is have a high pain threshold. That's it. There's a friend of mine who's got a good saying, which is that starting a company is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. Okay, that's generally what happens, because when you first start a company, there's lots of optimism and things are great, and then so happiness at first is high. Then you encounter all sorts of issues, and happiness will steadily decline, and then you'll go through a whole world of hurt. And then eventually, if you succeed, and in most cases you will not succeed, and Tesla almost didn't succeed, came very close to failure. Then if you succeed, then after a long time you will finally get back to happiness. I think two is you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing is a great product or service. It has to be really great. And I go back to what I was saying earlier, where if you're a new company, I mean, unless it's like some new industry or new market that, if it's an untapped market, then you have more ability to. The standard is lower for your product or service. But if you're entering anything where there's an existing marketplace against large entrenched competitors, then your product or service needs to be much better than theirs. It can't be a little bit better, because then you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer, and they say, why would you buy it as a consumer? You're always going to buy the trusted brand unless there's a big difference. So a lot of times, entrepreneur will come up with something which is only slightly better. And it can't just be slightly better. It's got to be a lot better. Number three, I'd say, is constantly seek criticism. A well thought out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold, and you should seek that from everyone you can, but particularly your friends. Usually, your friends know what's wrong, but they don't want to tell you because they don't want to hurt you. So
lift you up, sort of your.
Yeah. So they'll say, "Oh, I would encourage my friend, so I'm not going to tell him what I think is wrong with his product."
Yeah.
It doesn't mean your friends are right, but very often they are right, and you at least want to listen very carefully to what they say. And to everyone, if you're looking for, basically, you should take the approach that you're wrong. That you, the entrepreneur, are wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong.
I think successful entrepreneurs probably come in all sizes, shapes, and flavors. I'm not sure there's any one particular thing. For me, some of the things I've described already, I think, are very important. I think really an obsessive nature with respect to the quality of the product is very important. So being obsessive compulsive is a good thing in this context. Really liking what you do, whatever area that you get into. Given that even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short. I'd say and also if you like what you're doing, you think about it even when you're not working. I mean, it's something that your mind is drawn to. And if you don't like it, you just really can't make it work, I think.
That third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
8 weeks later, Musk bet the company on another flight.
We have liftoff.
And this time around, everything worked.
Perfect.
If that fourth launch hadn't worked, that would have been it. We would have not had the resources to mount a fifth.
Crazy. I think that's it. Okay. Woo, man, that was powerful. Awesome stuff. Let's get into it. I'm fired up. So many nuggets. I know this was different, but you got to remember that you can learn from everybody. Elon is a different dude, but this is a dude you're going to hear one day talk about Elon Musk changing the journey of humanity. That's how big this man's impact is. So I'm fired up right now. Let's get it. Roxy, it's on you.
Perfect. So I really love the beginning section of it where he was talking about what you do, and one thing I wrote down is are these efforts leading to a greater service? You know, like what is it that you're doing right now? And is it leading to a greater service towards the people that you're helping, towards humanity, towards the community, towards all those things? Because remember, a person that leads and gives great service, you know, it has such an impact on many. And through that, you start to reap success, you know. Elon Musk is successful because of so much that he's given back. You know, those 3 amazing companies are absolutely phenomenal. Just look them up. We went into Tesla when we were in Seattle, and the car is just absolutely amazing. Like, it's genius. So that was amazing. I loved also how he talked about now is the time to take risks. Like, if you don't have kids, and even if you do, like, now is the time to take risks, because as you get older, responsibilities will become bigger and they will keep increasing. So if you're in your 20s, so if you're in your 30s, like, it doesn't matter what age you're in, there's always time to start taking risks towards the things that you believe in and towards the things that you want to do. Why? Because we're not getting younger, we're getting older. And the older that you get, like Les Brown says, when you visit the graveyard, that's the place where there's so many like inventions and there's so many things that went dead. Why? Because people didn't take risk. So definitely encourage you to find what it is that you love and take risks, and like don't go the path that everyone is leading. Like, stray away from that path like as fast as possible. I also loved how you talked about focusing on what you believe is of high of value for others. So whatever it is that you represent, like whatever your brand is, you know, for us it's Herbalife, it's health coaching, and we focus on it so much. Why? Because we truly believe that it's of high value to others, you know, helping people lose weight, gain muscle, gain more energy, gain more confidence, like gain their life back. Like, that is of highest value to us, and I really loved it. And he talked about how you got to be tenacious, you got to be rigorous, and you got to work like crazy in order to be successful. He talked about most people work a 40-hour work week. He was working 80 to 100 hours, but he accomplished so much more. So like whenever you feel like you're tired because you're work maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, like just think of it. Am I working towards my dreams, or am I working towards somebody else's dreams? You know, and if you're working towards your dreams, give it your all, because when you give it your all, you're going to live a completely different lifestyle than you working on somebody else's dreams. So that was amazing. And then I also loved how you talked about how whenever you start a business, you have to have a high pain threshold, you know, because in the very beginning, you're going to be excited, you're going to be motivated, you're going to be like on top of the world. But when things get hard, that's when most people tend to give up. Why? Because the pain is too strong, the pain is too big, and they can't withstand it, and they can't withhold it, and therefore they quit. But if you quit, like, just imagine all the lives that you're going to leave untouched. Like, just imagine the dreams that you're going to just leave there because you weren't resistant to pain. And he said after so much pain, he's like, when you do succeed, he's like, the happiness will come again. And just imagine like that happiness, it's going to be like times 1,000, I'm sure, than in the very beginning. Why? Because you went through so much to achieve whatever you thought was of value to you, whatever you thought was powerful, whatever it is that you believed, and you stuck through it and you went through it like no matter what. Like, that was just amazing. And then I also loved how he talked about entrepreneurship, and he's like, you got to be a lot better and you got to seek criticism. That was huge, you know, because for me in the past, I remember at one point in my life being like, I know it all. I know. And people would tell me stuff and I would say, I know. And clearly I didn't know. Why? Because if I knew, I'd do better, you know? So don't always say that you know. Like, humble yourself enough to seek criticism from other people that are willing to help you grow. You know, because whenever you're able to do that, like, you start to see yourself in a different light, and know that the people around you that you're seeking criticism from only want you to be successful. So be open to criticism. Be okay with not being perfect. Be okay with like being just not being perfect all the time. Like, be okay with that and be open to that there's always room for improvement, because the moment that you think that there's no room for improvement, that there's no room for growth, that's the moment that you die. Because everything in life is constantly changing. Everything in life is constantly growing. So if you're not growing, like, you're dead. So that was a big takeaway. And then lastly, he said, make sure that you like what you do, because even when you're not working, like, you're thinking about it. That's when you know you're doing the right thing. That's when you know you're in the right field and pursuing what it is that you love. Even if you're trying to do something else, you're still thinking about it. For us, it's Herbalife. Like, there's not a time where I don't think about Herbalife or talk about Herbalife. And Herbalife, like, it's literally an Herbalife, not an Herb a day for us, an Herb a month. Like, it's an Herbalife. We freaking love it. So that was my big takeaways.
Awesome. Great takeaways. She hit on almost everything. I'll try to piggyback off what she was talking about. The biggest things I took away were, number one, he said work hard. You know, if you could look, if you guys, I'll post this video link, or if you guys just look up Elon Musk, I can see the look on Elon Musk like he's tired. Bags under his eyes. You know, he doesn't look like he slept much. That's because dude is working hard. I listened to his autobiography as well. They said Elon Musk, when he was working at all three companies at the same time, and just a little background about Elon Musk, he's one of the people who started the business that started PayPal. He sold it and took all that money and invested into his three companies to the point where he became almost bankrupt, had to borrow money to pay rent. Would you do that? Would you strike it big? He made over $100 million with PayPal, put it all into more businesses. He didn't go out and just frivolously spend. He got some stuff, but he put the majority of it into next stuff. So I really like this mind's mindset. So he said work hard. If somebody else is working 40 hours, you're working 80 hours, you're going to get twice as much done as them. If you're working 100 hours, you're going to get 2.5 times done as much as them. So put in the work. That's just the foundation of everything you want to achieve in life. Work ethic. Smart work, hard work. Go together, create success. I like that. Then he started talking about what are you putting your efforts into, and they're bettering your product and service. Tesla, I just didn't even recognize this, but it's true. Tesla doesn't have advertising. So they don't have to waste money on that. How do you know about Tesla? Everybody talks about it. It's just like Herbalife. Herbalife doesn't have advertising. Everybody just talks about it. So they can put all the money back into the company, into the members for Herbalife. Tesla puts it into research and development. We met one of their members at the Tesla shop in Seattle. She was like, I'm never going anywhere. I've been here like 5 years and I love it. I'll never go anywhere. It was amazing. That's the difference. How much are you putting back into your product and service and investing? And then he said, follow the truth. Don't just follow the trend. Don't use just analogy. Use principles. I loved his example of the horse. Oh, well, people like horses and there's a lot of grass, so who needs a car? You know, that's reasoning by analogy. Analogy is what you already know. The future does not have to look like the past. All you got to do is have physical. What are the physics rules? You know, I'm sure some people at one time thought about, nah, you can't take this little shake and this stuff around the world. It's in 94 countries, #1 nutrition company in the world. The reason why group fit clubs and free fitness in the community to help empower health has started. Like, who would have thought that could happen from this little shake? And this guy selling it out of his truck, Mark Hughes. The principles are, #1, people need help. #2, people want to feel good. #3, everybody wants an opportunity. So he didn't reason off the past. He reasoned off principles. Create your life on principles, not trends. I really like that. Focus on adding value. What sets you apart? He said if you're coming into a sector or any kind of business and you have businesses that are already doing that are entrenched, you can't be a little bit better. You got to be a lot better. And pretty much in this day and age, there's not a whole lot of new sectors that come out every day. So chances are you're going into a sector or going into a career or going into a passion that is already had history. You must not just be a little bit better. You must be a lot better. And that happens by working on yourself and reinventing yourself, seeking out mentors, working on your knowledge, trial and error, all these things. You can't just be average. Average doesn't even get you anything anymore. Tony Robbins started talking about good used to get you all right. Now good gets you paid. You got to be excellent to get good. So stepping up your game is necessary in everything that you do. #1, you can't even have a steady job for 20 years anymore. That's not how it goes. There's no pension plans anymore. It's the jungle, and in the jungle, you got to train. If the lion doesn't train, the lion is not the king. He gets defeated by somebody else. On the day he takes it off, the other dude, Scar, Mufasa, whoever's coming around, they just take your boy out. He's got to be training to be the best every single day. That doesn't mean your best isn't going to change. Some days you're going to be better than others. You don't look right and left for your best. You just say, hey, did I do the best I could in this example, in this situation, in this opportunity? You're the only one that knows that. And there is a difference because you always have the choice of doing all right, doing less than your best, or doing your best. And it's just a choice. It's just a standard. It's just a habit. I really like that. You said starting your business. And everybody should be a business owner. In this day and age, you should have something where you can create capital for you and your family. And he said starting your business is like chewing glass and looking into the abyss. I thought that was a pretty interesting metaphor. But you know, he said in the beginning you're going to be happy. And then there's going to be times, he said Tesla almost didn't make it. SpaceX almost didn't make it. So you got to know these are companies that are changing the world. They almost didn't make it. You think you're not going to run into troubles? I remember sitting through tough times. I was like, oh man, it's a tough time. But what you going to do? Quit? If you quit, it's never going to be successful. And if you quit, time's still going to go on. It's not like life isn't going to go on. Bills still got to be paid. You still got your dreams. They haven't left you. So it's like, why quit? Don't cry to quit. Eric Thomas says cry. Like, use some energy for it and use it to keep going. Be like, okay, I cried it out. It was tough. Well, let's keep going. Because you've already invested all this work, and anything worthwhile is going to take effort and challenge and setbacks. So you already got some out of the way. Don't stop. Keep going. Because eventually, if you believe your product, your service, whatever you think you believe in that you can't stop thinking about, if you truly believe in it, it will come to fruition. And it will become like a Tesla, like a SpaceX, change the world, change the people's lives who you're working with. I really like that one. Then he left off with entrepreneur. Be obsessive in your nature. Thinking about it, and I'm going to tell you guys, that's how it is for us in Herbalife, with Herbalife, because it's about how can we add value to people, how can we change lives. But whatever it is, if you're in Herbalife, awesome. If you're in another career, awesome. If you're thinking about a career or an opportunity, awesome. You got to think about, what do I think about all day long? I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I'll get upset because, I'm feeling frustrated in our journey with our building our business. And I'll be like, Aubrey, you can't go anywhere. You think about Herbalife all day. I'll just be sitting there like, man, how can we take this to the next, like out of nowhere. So for me, that shows me that I know that I found it. I'm asking you, what does that for you? What has your attention all day long where even when you don't want to, you're thinking about it? Because that's your thing. And just know that just because it's your thing doesn't mean you're always going to be super good at it. Just know that you found your thing and it's going to take time. So be obsessive in your nature. If you like what you do, think about it when you're not even working. That is your passion. So I'm fired up. Elon Musk, even though he's a different kind of guy, I've got so much respect for him because, not because he's a billionaire and he's done all this stuff. Why I really respect Elon Musk, and I heard he's kind of a jerk sometimes to people. Are you going to be able to be the nicest person to everybody? I don't know. But what I do know is that you can learn something from everybody. That doesn't mean you have to learn everything from everybody. But Elon Musk, if you heard at the end, he said, when SpaceX, there was their last flight that if it didn't work, because they had tried to launch like 5-6 times, and every time you launch, it's very expensive, and they were not successful. And it was the last time, and they were betting the company on one launch. If it did not make it, it was done. They didn't have the resources to keep going. And he said, and they asked you, so when you failed these times and you went again, did you think about quitting? He said, no. He said, either I'm going to die or be incapacitated. That's the only way I stop. And for me, that inspired me because that showed me what's possible. You could be that kind of person. You could be like, no, there is no stopping for my family, for my dreams, for my goals, for what I want to create in this life. There is no stopping. It's just not, either I got to be incapacitated or dead. That's the stop button. And for me, that was just like, dang, this dude did all that. He never stopped. 3 businesses at the same time. He took all his millions from PayPal. He could have been chilling on an island somewhere, was doing it. Went straight in, put everything in, and didn't stop as they were. You got to remember, all these were going on at the same time. Sometimes we have issues with one job. He had 3 businesses that he was having issues with. Just what he did, for me, just creates, okay, I can do it. I can do this because he did that. And that's why I respect the man. He didn't stop. He created amazing. He went through hell to do it. And for me, it's like 100 creates 50% is easy. Come on now. 50% of what Elon Musk did, we can do it. Because he did 100% of what I've seen, like being possible kind of thing. So we want to get some shares from the call-in line. I know we're amped up. I know my neighbors are probably like, why are you doing this? But maybe they heard some Triple M too. So who's on the call-in line that wants to share? The call-in line is amped up too. Say your name and where you from. Call-in line is still thinking. You guys there?
We're here.
What's up? Name and where you from?
Hi, Aubrey. This is Alexis. I'm from Adelanto.
What's up? What's
up? It's been a
up?
while. Hi. It's been a while. I've been very busy with my job, but you and Roxy have made a couple of points that are very true. I'm not normal. I'm not average. Every day, whatever gets thrown at me, I try to do my best. I wake up and I'm grateful for many things. I think about Herbalife. I can't go out there, but I miss you guys. And there's some realization when you guys speak about what it is that you guys love. I admire you guys because it's not easy, but I see how happy, how much motivation, love, passion you guys give to it. And I wish I was more like that. I really miss you guys. And if there's anything that you guys give is motivation. You guys give hope to the people. Roxy mentioned a couple of things. Right now I'm just so many things I want to say, but I can't live at a time. I'm grateful to be in this call. Every time that I jump on a call, it fuels me. It feeds me. It makes me emotional. And it puts me back to where I need to be, to focus and give it my best. And I want to thank you guys for this.
That's what it's
about. And I can't wait to make some room, to make some time to be out there with you guys, because you guys are the best, really. And I'm grateful to be part of your team. I haven't been around, but I need to be around. I want to be around, and I will be around. I will see you guys soon.
Absolutely. Powerful. Thank you for sharing. And, that's always our intention, is to add value to everybody's Monday, because we also get value from jumping on this call, too. Don't think it's one way. I get fired up. Roxy gets fired up. Toby gets fired up. So we're all feeding off each other. So great job, you guys. We went a little over on time. I didn't even notice it was 8:35. But we're going to pass it off. We're going to upload this to YouTube. When we post the video, repost the video with your takeaways, invite others to watch it, send it to people. I'll just send it to people sometimes. Fire up them like you're fired up. Invite them to be on the call next Monday. If you're on Instagram, repost a flyer or whatever image for you represents your biggest takeaways and share it. Let's share this fire, because just like when you hear good news, you want to share it. It makes it more. Your information you're getting is going to make it more when you share it. So great job, you guys. It's going to be a beautiful Monday. So excited. Grateful to be up here doing this with Roxy. She had so many great takeaways. I learned a lot. And we love you guys. Have a good one. Happy Monday. Peace out. Adios.
Bye.